They all seem to be trained to sound precisely the same, thus this Labour government must be operating on the same script. The same from their robotic delivery to their practiced lines. It's becoming more difficult to distinguish between the two. In today's video, we're concentrating on Rachel Reeves, who found herself in an awkward situation on live television. A recent accusation has surfaced claiming that Reeves had embellished some of her previous roles, and when confronted, her response was far from convincing. In fact, she stammered her way through the questions, avoiding direct answers and leaving everyone wondering. This is just another example of the government's lack of transparency and accountability that we've grown accustomed to seeing. Before we watch the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join our rapidly expanding community. It seems like the standard tactic is to divert attention and hope the problem goes away, but as voters, we deserve better. If our leaders can't even be honest about something as basic as their own work history, how can we trust them to be honest about the major issues facing the nation? Just a quick note to let you know that we have brand new Trapped Farmer t-shirts in stock. Go get them right away at british.com or by clicking the link in the description. Now, let's look at Rachel Reeves as she attempts to avoid answering these extremely simple questions. Spoiler alert, it's not a good look for her or her party. Well, I'm really proud to have worked as an economist at the Bank of England before I became a Member of Parliament, and also in financial services at Halifax Bank of Scotland. I've got the experience to do this job as Chancellor of the Exchequer, as well as the 14 years as I had as a Member of Parliament chairing the Business Select Committee and as Shadow Chancellor. People should judge me on the job that I do fixing the economy. Fixing the mess that we inherited from the Conservative government. But what do you say about the fact there was a change made to the profile and it now says retail banking? It once said economist. Just explain that. Well, I'm an economist. I studied economics. I got a MERS in economics from the London School of Economics, and I worked as an economist at the Bank of England. I then used that experience in the private sector, working for Halifax Bank of Scotland, where I worked in financial services before I became an MP 14 and a bit years ago. But it was Chong, wasn't it? The profile. Well, I worked as an economist. That is my profession. I am an economist, and I worked in retail banking at Halifax Bank of Scotland in Halifax before I became a Member of Parliament. I'm proud of the work that I did before I became an MP, both at the Bank of England and in the private sector in retail banking. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. In other news, the TV license fee could be scrapped after the Labour government's announcement that an honest conversation into the BBC's funding model will now take place. With plans to evaluate the broadcaster's long-term funding structure, Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy has reaffirmed that the public broadcaster's license fee scheme will remain in place until at least 2027. During the upcoming Royal Charter Review, which will decide the BBC's future and incorporate feedback from stakeholders and viewers, Andy has pledged to look at all funding alternatives. In favor of integrating these talks into the larger Royal Charter Review process, Nandy has abandoned the previous government's expert panel examination of BBC funding. The BBC's operations are governed by the Royal Charter, which is periodically reviewed by the government to make sure the broadcaster is fulfilling its public service commitments. This announcement coincides with the BBC facing increasing pressure from international streaming services and a reported 30% drop in license fee revenue. The assessment will examine how the media landscape is evolving and take into account long-term funding options for the company. As of right now, the annual cost of the TV license fee is £116,950, or slightly more than £4 per month. This fee applies to anyone who watches live television on any device or network, including those who only watch non-BBC content. Starting in April 2025, the annual cost will rise to £17,450, in accordance with an agreement made under the previous government to match fee increases with inflation until 2027. Following their election earlier this year, Labour promised more assistance for low-income households that are unable to pay the license fee. A reduced TV license fee program currently exists for those who meet certain eligibility requirements in order to guarantee that these households can continue to benefit from the cultural and educational advantages of live television programming. All live television viewers, whether or not they watch BBC programming, including those who watch live sports on websites like Prime Video, must pay under the present financing scheme. In a written address to Parliament, the BBC discussed these factors as it struggles with major shifts in viewing preferences and heightened competition from streaming firms. Andy highlighted the BBC's vital role in British society, saying that the Culture Minister pledged to ensure the broadcaster's survival and that it offers much-needed programming for homes nationwide, including children's education, top-notch entertainment, and trust-ed news for everyone in the UK. "I want to see it," she added. "We will have an open national discussion on the broadcaster's long-term future through the Charter Review, allowing them to flourish for decades to come." Nandy emphasized the significance of striking a balance between sustainability and treating licensing fee payers fairly. The Wigan MP promised to make sure the BBC has a long-term public funding model that not only supports its essential work but also is equitable and responsive to its funders. The minister also underlined the short-term assistance measures that are being put in place, stating that we are giving the BBC funding certainty while also helping thousands of more homes that are struggling financially to cover the cost of a TV license. Finally, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are scheduled to make important public appearances in December. The Duchess of Sussex is anticipated to go to a party celebrating her friend Tyler Perry on December 4, and Prince Harry will make an appearance in New York on the same day. This is part of the couple's business strategy of professional separation, which permits them to work on different projects while still being present for their two children, Lilibet, age 3, and Archie, age 5. Meghan is pursuing entrepreneurial endeavors aimed at her demographic, including her future brand, while Harry is now concentrating on humanitarian endeavors. According to public relations specialist Ed Coram James, American Riveria Orchard, he told the Mirror that the couple's disparate looks could be a calculated attempt to save their reputation. The reputation of Meghan and Harry has been damaged. Beyond repair, they are now in a position where joint branding is no longer feasible due to the unrelenting media reaction brought on by their poor PR strategies. The expert says that Harry's efforts to repair his reputation after leaving royal duties are being overshadowed by his relationship with Meghan. He suggests that if the couple wants 2025 to be a good year, they should stop working on joint projects and instead concentrate on their individual strengths. He also says that this strategy could help them avoid the controversies that have made them the target of criticism. What do you think of what we covered in today's video? If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, and take care. Goodbye.